Hello everyone, welcome to Off the Water. My name is Mark and I'm a retired Marine with over 22 years of service in the military. Ever since retiring, I have decided to become a full-time fishing YouTuber. So I've got about 4 years experience now. And what I want to talk to y'all about today is the Lew's Custom Lite. This is the little reel that will definitely change the way you think about fishing reels. For one, it is just crazy lightweight, 4.9 ounces, and that is feather light. I got two of them. I've got each one on ultralight bait casting rods, and I'll tell you why I have those rods, because it's not a common setup. These are just ultra lightweight. I think it's 7.9 ounces total for the entire setup, including fishing line. It's just not something that's conventional, especially for inshore saltwater fishing. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But first, I want to let y'all know that I was sponsored by Lew's for the 2020 fishing season. We're now in 2021. I'm no longer with those guys anymore. My contract came up, and being that it just wasn't a mutually beneficial relationship, so I have since parted ways. But I do believe in their product, and I'm basically plugging them for free. This custom light fishing reel is phenomenal in every sense possible, and I do believe that if you're someone who does fishing full-time and you're making hundreds of thousands of casts through the course of a week or a month, depending on how much you go fishing. I'm out there at least 4 times out of the week, and you just multiply that throughout the month, and then the year you kind of get a sense for how much I'm actually using these guys, and absolutely phenomenal. Zero maintenance through the course of 1 year's use, zero oiling it, no washing it down. They're not listed or described as saltwater rated or ready. They're mainly used for the bass market, but they are phenomenal in inshore saltwater fishing. On the Texas Gulf Coast, I do a lot of marsh style stuff, and I'm going after redfish that could be anywhere from 20 to about 30 inches in length, and they have plenty of drag that isn't glitchy. It doesn't have to reach a threshold in order for the drag to start giving way. So when I mean not glitchy, it doesn't stretch, and then it reaches a threshold and then boom, it gives, and then it gives again. That's glitchy drag. That is bad. You don't want that. These guys don't have that. They got your back. 20 pounds of drag is more than enough for anything here on the Texas Gulf Coast. Heck, I've used reels with maybe 7 pounds of drag, and that is more than enough. The average 30-inch redfish is probably gonna get you maybe 12 pounds is what they're weighing, and these guys have got you covered. I've caught 12 pounds and under, and they are phenomenal. They're loaded, so the reels are loaded with 10-pound Power Pro braid. The reason why I need to use such light braid, light line, on the leader, it's a 12-pound fluorocarbon. I've got to use that light line because I'm finesse fishing out there in the marsh. When you're sight casting reds, you don't want to spook them by presenting a full size, maybe a 5-inch, 4-inch larger lure that's very dense. And when it hits that 6-inch water, it's going to make a splash. It pushes a weight that's not natural. Unless they're in full feeding mode, in a feeding frenzy, then you can probably get away with your traditional style stuff, slinging it at them, because they're going to be chasing stuff down. They're schooled up, and they've got one thing on their mind: crushing big finger mullet. And you can get away with something like that. But whenever it's calm, there's no wind, it's light glass, it's the picture perfect Texas Gulf Coast day, inshore style fishing, the shallow flats, you're being pulled by somebody in the marsh, and you need to present them with a lure. Fly fishing comes to mind, because flies don't make a big huge splash. That's basically what I want to do, but it's not practical doing it from a kayak or a very small platform. Your fly line gets fouled and tangled up with all the rod holders and everything that can be on a kayak. So I went the route of hiring a custom rod builder to produce me an ultralight bait casting rod. And since then, I have partnered up with the rod company that builds these two that I've got in front of me. Old 18 Outfitters, a small Texas company that's veteran owned out of Magnolia. And they have produced a custom rod, but it's mass produced now. So based off of everything that I wanted in a fishing rod, ultra premium, we're talking titanium guides, 12 guides plus the tip, and then like grade A cork handles, a split grip, a show through rod blank. We're talking an ultralight rod blank that is capable of being high sticked with the heaviest of fish, and it's not gonna break. So you can high stick, net the fella, and there you go. So this setup right here, I would be willing to say that it's the equivalent to fly fishing, but in a conventional manner with bait casting rods. And because everything works in conjunction with each other, when you set that hook on a very large redfish, the rod is going to bend at the same time because the drag is not glitchy. The drag is going to be able to engage, and you're going to have an instant hook set. The minute you feel the bite, that's exactly what's happening because you're using braid. The reason why you got to use that fluorocarbon leader, and a light one at that, is because if you don't, there's a lot of oyster that we fish around. The reds will drag you through an oyster bed or over an oyster bar. And when braid is put under tension, and if it barely touches the oyster, that's it. It's going to slice it like a razor blade. So you need the abrasion resistance, and that's what the 12-pound fluorocarbon provides you with. And the reason why I got to use 12-pound versus, like, let's just say a 20-pound, maybe even a 30-pound fluorocarbon leader, I tie directly to my lures. I don't want the fish to be able to see something like a snap swivel or a split ring, anything that's shiny or anything that's going to get in the way from my line to my lure. I try to just do away with all of that. So 12-pound is the happy medium for your leader line, and it's just phenomenal all the way around. So now let's talk a little bit about the fishing reel, which is what I really wanted to touch on. 1 year's worth of use. No maintenance whatsoever. I've got nothing to gain. This video is not sponsored. Heck, this channel isn't even sponsored by anybody. So there's nothing to gain. I'm not even earning money on this channel right now. So I just want to let y'all know about a phenomenal fishing reel, and that is this guy right here, the Lew's Custom Lite. There's nothing on the box for me to be able to read y'all quickly about the specs, so we're going to turn over to their website. As I said before, let's see, the main things that you need to know: 20 pounds of drag, and then we go to the bearings, 10+1, and it's super smooth. The weight, 4.9 ounces again. The line capacity, 90 yards of, I'm thinking that's going to be mono because that's what everybody puts. I don't know what the braid is, but I venture to say that I've got roughly 100 yards, somewhere around there. I know it can swallow up 150, but I back mine with mono halfway through the spool, and then approximately 100 yards of 10-pound Power Pro braid. It's a 7.5-to-1 gear ratio. If you make an errand cast while you're sight fishing those reds, you can reel that line back in really quick. It's going to bring in about 28 inches of fishing line per turn of the handle. And that's pretty much all you need to know about the reel, I guess. I mean, if you want to learn what material they're made out of and how they're so lightweight and everything, like all the patented technologies that go into it, I highly recommend going to Lew's website and checking it out. As far as the fishing reel goes, I highly recommend it. Like I said, day in and day out, tons of casting, ultra low profile. It does not fatigue the wrists. And I mean, when you hold a setup like this, you will begin to see like, man, I have been doing fishing wrong all year long. Because whenever you catch small little tiny guys, even the smallest, let's just say you're going to go after some slab crappie in freshwater, this is the perfect setup. you can appreciate the fight that every fish has to give, not just the big ones. I'm talking little ditch pickle bass that you're catching. Every fish has its own fight to give, and you will get that with an ultralight casting rod and this custom Lite fishing reel. It will give you a new appreciation. Being able to cast 1/16 ounce all the way up to a 1/4 ounce in weight. Lures that are super tiny, designed for fly fishing, but you can fish them with conventional gear like this right here. Absolutely phenomenal. I definitely recommend this custom Lite. Again, not sponsored by the guys anymore. I just wanted y'all to know about a phenomenal fishing reel. Requires little to no maintenance because I'm living proof of what I've done with these fishing reels. 1 year's solid use, and they're still rolling with those punches. And I don't rinse my gear off after every trip. I don't even rinse them off after any trip. They basically do not get dunked in the water. I take great care when I'm out there on the water to make sure they're not getting splashed with the salt stuff. And the only thing that they're exposed to is whatever the braid absorbs after each cast, and it brings it back in. The spool does get wet and it does throw a small mist. I mean, all of y'all know that. You see it in like B-roll shots for TV or anything like that when they make the cast, and that poof, that really fine mist of water just explodes off of the spool. That's the only salt that they're being exposed to. But yeah, just overall, a phenomenal fishing reel. If you want to see these guys in action, I do own another channel, MDLR Fishing. That will also be linked in my video description below. Check out any of my videos from March of 2020 all the way into December, and heck, even now. You go over there, click on any of those, and you will be able to see what these guys are capable of handling. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did, if you would be so kind as to click that thumbs up button, it definitely helps out the channel with the YouTube algorithm so that they can recommend this content to others that are just like you. All right, that is gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time when we're off the water.